13-year-olds to 80-year-olds.
Also 13 years old.
So I don't think in my entire life I'd ever imagined such a scene, not even in a movie. I don't think anybody has seen this kind of crime scene ever in his life.
What's important is there was a family, not an atypical family, mind you, quite a typical family. There were 3 generations living in one roof, the grandparents, the parents, and the children. And in a joint family, you see, everyone's roles are kind of plotted, and everybody falls in line.
All of them educated, all of them high-functioning social members, people in the prime of their lives. This was truly extraordinary.
The first question that comes to a person's mind would be why? Why did this incident happen? Everybody wants to know why. And the answer is not simple, it's quite complex.
We certainly don't know what's happening with our neighbors. And we absolutely do not know what's happening in our neighborhood. But every now and then something comes along that shakes the most hardened of us. It makes you go, oh my God.
If anyone wanted to carry out this kind of mass killing to kill 11 people, they'd require at least, let's say at least 2 people to control each person. That would mean 20 to 30 people in all. There was no such disturbance there. It was a simple crime scene. Even their ornaments were all still on them. On their ears and necks, everything was there. There was no indication of a burglary. And if indeed it was suicide, why are they blindfolded, hands tied up? Why was there cotton in the ears? Exactly what is it? Could someone have overpowered them by administering something to them, poisoned them and hung them, and as soon as they were overpowered, tied them up to make it look like a murder?
As it was time for the milk, about 60 people had gathered there.
Yes,
to buy
there were
milk.
regular customers there.
They're regular customers. When they saw what had happened, it flared up in no time.
Arvind Kejriwal has arrived on the scene. As you can see, the Chief Minister of Delhi, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, is here to visit the crime scene and take stock of the situation. Sir, what caused these 11 deaths? Is this murder or is this suicide?
Our top priority was securing the crime scene. Our entire staff was on the road, controlling the crowds that had gathered, placing barricades. As soon as we barricaded the lanes, people took to the roof, trying to get a view from their neighbors' rooftops as to what was going on. There was a lot of curiosity, understandably. People were crowding windows and terraces, capturing it on their cell phones, hoping for a glimpse.
Just then, I got a call from my source. He said, listen, 11 people have been found dead inside a house. They have been murdered. Finding 11 bodies together in a city like Delhi was a big deal. Why did this happen? How did this happen? Who could have done it?
It is said that crime reporters are generally devoid of emotions. Just like police officers who deal with dead bodies and accidents every day, they become emotionally dead. We too are a bit like that. But that day, my emotions were driving me to wonder how come an entire family had died. Because in all these years, as a crime reporter, I had never come across such a case. So, my first instinct was this could be fake news.
I was desperately trying to get information from any source, but no one was answering my calls because it was a huge incident. And then my source at the local police confirmed that this had actually happened. I was the first to break the case news. So I was the one who presented this case to the world. My tweet got retweeted and the news spread quickly. Everyone rushed there to cover it.
11 bodies were found hanging from a mesh in a Burari house, 7 females and 4 males.
By 8:30, I think all prominent media teams had reached there.
Never before have the Delhi police received a call about 11 bodies found in one house. It is a race. There's pressure on us. Everyone wants to be the first to break the news. The police had blocked access to the house, so we were making our assumptions based on what was being said in the crowd.
Behind me, you can see the senior police officials who are still here at the spot.
We then received a video of the crime scene taken at the time of the incident.
Before the police had reached there, I think by 7:35, 7:40, the video had been shot and already uploaded. Some civilian had shot it and it went viral.
I received the video as a message on my WhatsApp group. And it was spine chilling. The video was like this. So this was a video that was a little less than 2 minutes long.
No police personnel are seen in the video. It was shot and made viral by some civilian. But strict instructions were given out that nobody should air the video because it's brutal and disturbing.
So that video got all of us shaken up. We couldn't believe that this had happened. It was so disturbing.
We didn't need any more further confirmation. We were convinced that it is true.
In a horrifying incident, dead bodies of 11 members of the same family, 7 women and 4 men, were found in a house in North Delhi's Burari area
11 members
today.
of a family were found. Breaking news coming in from the heart of Delhi. In the area of Burari, 11 bodies were found.
The Delhi police called the control room and informed.
We now had all the photographs and videos. Once they were put out, the gravity of the news completely spiraled.
That video made it seem that someone had murdered them. How could 11 people do this to themselves? People could also not believe it, and the crowd kept growing there. It is a huge responsibility handling such cases. Reporters need to keep everything in mind. Even a small error could provoke a law and order problem.
And you know how it is. We see it all the time. Even over small matters, people burn vehicles and get destructive. One person starts some bullshit and it gets out of hand.
We have to calm people down, make sure there are no riots. A lot of people seek exposure, and that's risky.
In a short while, the police will release statement regarding the incident.
Even senior officials like our joint commissioner and special commissioner reached there in an hour.
We are not ruling out anything as of now. We are investigating from all possible angles.
At this point of time, what is happening is that evidence is being gathered and forensic teams also arrived here in order to gather the evidence.
By 9:30, FSL was there. The whole team was there. Biology, physics, chemistry, FSL photography. Everybody we wanted there. All the possible experts. Everyone had the same reaction. What is this? What is this?
As we went from the ground floor to the first floor, the bodies were. Our first reaction was, oh my God. We could not believe it.
It was very surprising and very cruel because elder person also there, children also there.
It was difficult there to make sense of it as to how 3 generations were hanging like that. So with our entire team, we started taking photographs to make sure we document each and everything. We wanted to make sure we didn't miss even the smallest detail.
We marked the bodies 1, 2, 3, 4 in serial number. Marking the bodies was really difficult. The bodies were dangling. We maneuvered through them for the marking.
This was not a normal crime scene at all. Something was off.
The 9 people hanging did look like suicide, but still, why the double knots? Why the blindfolds and all? It's a mystery. Then, along with the stoles, why were the wires used as a double arm? Some hands were tied, some were not. The woman who was hanging at a distance, her legs were touching the ground. The mother in the corner, who was 80 years old, why would she commit suicide? And why was she on the floor? Again the same question. Is it a suicide? Is it a murder? The motive was yet to be known. Why was this done? There was no suicide note. So because of all these things, we thought no, we cannot leave out anything and we can't just rule it out as suicide. No. We needed every kind of clue, whatever we could get. Suddenly we spotted a CCTV camera across the street and a team was deputed to check the footage. Completely, right from the beginning. Which meant checking the movement from the previous evening up until 7 to 8 a.m. the next morning. Scan through it frame by frame. Don't skip anything. Just to rule out the possibility of an outsider entering into the area or find any clue to the tragedy.
Was it a case of mass murder or that of mass suicide? This is a question that has grappled not just the people from these bylanes of Burari, but perhaps the entire nation.
This is their house. We used to chit-chat with each other across the terrace. The whole family. They were our neighbors and we would talk to each other all the time. We never had any problems. They were good people, 11 of them. A very good family. They were great neighbors. I have a son myself, and he often visited their shop downstairs. They were very fond of him. He used to call out, "Auntie, Auntie," and spoke to them from the terrace. My son is still small and he really misses them.
As neighbors, we were very fond of each other. Actually, they had come from one. They used to be farmers there. Earlier, they had one shop and then two. They opened a general store as well. The younger son, Lalit, had a plywood business. They were doing well.
I worked for almost 8 years at the plywood store with Lalit. Families will have quarrels and arguments, but I never saw any such thing there. Whether at home or outside, no one ever raised their voice. They were all very religious people and went to the temple twice a day. They were very generous. If I ever forgot to carry lunch, ma'am would make sure I was fed. She treated me like a brother.
When we moved here, it was like one family. We were together, whether in sorrow or joy. We used to attend all functions together. Our own families had got left behind in the villages. So here in the city, our neighbors become our family. My eldest son was a bit older than their sons, but in spite of that, they were really good friends. They would play in the lane till around 11 at night, hang out, run about. As soon as they saw me, they would say, "Namaste uncle, touch my feet." We used to wish for such qualities in our children too.
All the 3 children that studied in our institute, all 3 were intelligent. And Neetu, who was personally coached by me, she was bold and always spoke what was on her mind. A firebrand and good at her studies. So all the girls had very brave personalities and were intelligent at the same time. These children were not the kind that would be scared of anyone.
From the time we moved here, they've been referred to as the Bhatiyas.
Bhatia was Narayani Devi's maiden surname.
Narayani Devi auntie was nice with everybody. Whenever we visited them, she treated us lovingly. Savita and Tina, both were very sweet. They would go to any length to help us. The whole family was like that. They were always there for us.
Sometimes when we went out, we've even left our small children in their house. I was at the Sisganj Gurdwara in Chandni Chowk when she had called me. She said, "Come quickly, everything's finished at Bhupi's house." I at once assumed it to be a burglary since Priyanka was about to get married.
How could 3 generations commit suicide all at one time? And to murder 11 people was also as inconceivable. So since the whole family had perished, 11 of them, all 11 of them, there were no eyewitnesses. No one to tell us what had happened in the house. Just one member was left, albeit an animal.
I saw this breaking news on TV that a family of 11 was found dead in their home. They had hanged themselves at night. Immediately a thought occurred to me that there was a dog constantly being shown and no one seemed to care for it. The anchors were going on talking about everything else, but nothing about the dog. All the news channels were doing this. Then it just struck me that I have to rescue that baby. But he was agonized and in trauma out in the hot sun tied up on the terrace. He was tied to the same grill where the family was found hanging. He had been seeing everything for days but couldn't stop it because he was voiceless. As soon as we reached there, the police took us upstairs. Tommy was very aggressive. We couldn't control him at all. So then we had to bring a dog catcher. Tommy was the 12th member of the family. If Tommy hadn't been tied up on that terrace, most probably the family would have been alive now.
Let me show you. Some relatives have arrived on the scene. As you can see here, take a look. As you can see, the relatives are very emotional.
They've left me all alone. I don't know what to say. They were good people. I've lost my whole family.
The first relative to reach was Sujata, the sister from Panipat. We had to ensure that she didn't faint or pass out. First, we informed her about what had happened, then we consoled her. We told her that life and death are in God's hands, we are at His mercy. Something bad has taken place. Neither you nor I can change that. What has happened has happened.
We are told the family was very simple and devout.
Yes, very devout. The neighbors can vouch for it. They were good people. Such pious people.
The entire family is inconsolable. Relatives and neighbors are gripped with sorrow and in no condition to
One
talk.
can only hope that a thorough investigation into this matter will finally bring answers to the family which has seen it all.
I got a call from my elder brother. He said something terrible has happened in Delhi. I said, what happened? He said that the entire family has been wiped out. I said, how is it possible? As soon as I switched on the TV, I saw the scene in front of me. I was completely shocked.
We couldn't understand.
But then we saw the picture when they showed the house and the location of that place, and we at once realized that it's our own family, our own sister's family.
That's how we found out.
She was always busy working, but such was her nature. There was no pretense of any sort. It seemed that her family was, everything for her. Her bond with the family was so strong, it seemed unusual. She was a unique kind of person.
And never in her life did she demand anything. Never.
We went to Rawatbata to meet the family, and within 3 months of our initial talks, we fixed their marriage.
They were leading a normal, simple, regular life. There was no sign of any problem.
Whatever happened, nothing was in our hands. What to do? We know nothing about it. The men left from here that evening, didn't take us ladies along.
There is so much pain and such a deep void in our hearts that probably may never get filled. This family has lost such a wonderful, loving sister, such a nice daughter we have lost. We have lost such a nice son-in-law and nieces and nephews. Not even 7 more generations can fill the void they have left.
That day itself, on the very night of the incident, Tina had called me and I spoke to Lalit too. We spoke for about 5 minutes. He said, "It's fine, how are things? Everything's great." He said, "We'll talk in the morning now." A girl's brother, her parents, everyone in the family usually worries as to how she would be coping in her new house. But no one in this family ever had to worry about Tina. Rarely do we get to see such compatibility in married couples. They used to respect each other and listen to each other a lot. Their rapport was too good to be true.
This is our brother-in-law Lalit and sister Tina. Their wedding pictures. Made for each other.
My mother's condition was unbearable.
There is good and evil in the world, both in equal measure. What is truth and what is lies, how will we ever know, isn't it?
The big story in the national capital
The
is
survivors of the Burari family have spoken out. They say, how could a family go from throwing a big bash for their daughter to mass suicide in 14 days?
This is a case of suicide. His second daughter Sujata refuses such claims, and she says they were murdered.
Look, whatever is being said about them is wrong. They are creating a fake story.
Lalit's sister, who lived in Panipat, had also arrived there, and the situation there had become very tense.
Why are you portraying this incident as suicide?
So what do you think, ma'am? Do you
No, I
think
think
police...
someone had killed them. The police are doing this to suppress the truth. They're hiding something to protect themselves.
Not one of them. None of the relatives was willing to accept that this was a mass suicide. Their eldest son, whose name was Dinesh, was in Rajasthan at the time. He said,
"My family was so brave, I do not buy this theory. Our children were all very brave, and so were my brothers. They would not do such a thing. They were not weak."
They also had no idea what the real story was. They too could not say what had happened. They insisted it was murder and that we were wrongly reporting. Then all over the country it was said that we were reporting lies, that we were in cahoots with the police and reporting what they wanted us to.
By then, some people started sloganeering. They were saying that it was a murder, that the police were involved. Some people who belonged to their community and had a social organization had reached the venue. They were arriving one by one. They were locals from Delhi.
This is a lie. They are trying to wash their hands off their responsibility. The police are not doing justice to anyone, especially this poor family. But today, thanks to the Karni Sena, this family will not be alone.
Some people from the Karni Sena came there, and what those people had to say was some of the deceased in the family were their relatives. They were from Chittorgarh in Rajasthan. We will shake up the city. We will shake up the country, but we'll fight for justice.
I assure you, we will do whatever it takes to get justice for our family there in Delhi.
Because what usually happens in any incident is that the police is the first one to be accused. We know it.
The crowds were getting out of hand. We made our arrangements accordingly. This is Delhi. We won't let anything happen at any cost. They think if they create a riot and bully the police, they'll get away with it.
I believe the police is shrugging off its responsibility. We demand a CBI investigation and murder case to be registered.
Whatever your demands are, tell us. We've registered a murder case. Initially, we didn't think it was, but we still did it. We are investigating. We'll take care of every aspect. You can see the FIR. We have explained everything in detail. Case registration is not the end of investigation. It is just the beginning of the investigation.
The latest on the multiple deaths in Delhi's Burari area, a murder case has been registered. This a day after 11 persons of one family were found mysteriously dead in their home in Delhi.
Very often what happens is people presume that the local police are trying to hush up the case. When the crime branch gets involved, they get the feeling that the case is being handed to a good professional team. And they will do a thorough investigation.
The crime branch specializes in handling cases of a sensitive nature. In any crime, there's something called a mens rea. There has to be knowledge, there has to be intention, and there has to be a motive behind a crime. Why should they die? And who should kill them? And for what? From the crime branch side, I was the first person to reach. See, my reaction was not shock, it was curiosity, because I've handled cases of multiple murders before. So my first instinct was, this could be a hanging after the crime has been committed. I kept calling my team. I specifically called for Satish. He's not one of the best, he is my best investigating officer.
In the movies, cops are sometimes shown as good and sometimes bad. When it's good, we feel happy. When we catch someone, when we solve a case after putting in a great effort, we feel happy. The moment I entered that house in Burari, the scene that I saw before my eyes when I climbed up those stairs to the first floor is something I can never forget. I felt devastated. I felt sick in my stomach. We investigated the case from whatever possible angles were possible in that scenario. And then we started ruling out theories one by one.
We went around searching the house very systematically. There was nothing disturbed, there was no forced entry, there was milk in the refrigerator, and there were some traces of food being taken. If this was a homicide, there would be some kind of struggle, and it was almost as if they were hanging in peace. Between the second and the first floor, there was this mesh. It was covered up, so I was wondering if it could be moved or not. It was very light. It was made of fiberglass and wood. And then I could see that the ligatures were equidistant from each other. It is like a Rubik's Cube, you know. I thought this is too difficult to stage.
As we investigated further, there were some more angles that we had to rule out. Bhuvnesh, that is Bhupi, had tried to untie himself. One of his hands was free, showing clear signs of struggle. But not the children. Their legs were completely bound. Their hands were fully tied behind them, tied tightly with telephone wire. So even if they wanted to, they couldn't have untied themselves. They had tape over their mouths as well as their eyes. Cotton was stuffed in their ears. And their old mother was found lying by the side of her bed in a corner of the room. Her body was half, and there was a stool around her neck, like everyone else.
And there was a belt. On her one side here, there were marks, which the FSL noticed, and so did we. They were of the same width as the belt, but only on one side. Usually in cases of hanging, what happens is the marks go completely upwards like this, like a V.
It was very suspicious.
Yes. The bodies were carefully removed and numbered, then we packed and shifted them to the mortuary. All this in the middle of that crowd, 5 to 10,000 people and so many cameras lurking. We arranged for 11 ambulances. 2 men to carry the body to the ambulance, 1 to sit with the driver to make sure the route is clear. 2 ambulances were brought in reverse as there wasn't enough space to turn. The stairs leading up to the house, we parked exactly in front of them.
As the bodies were being lowered, each body had to be reached through the other's dangling, then laid down carefully and we packed them up in Ziploc bags. The atmosphere was very tense. Watching it got us very emotional. How could something like this happen? How could children hang like that?
Shout out.
In my opinion, nothing has changed since that day. The people, they were scared to even touch the bodies. But we were the ones who brought down all the 11 bodies. My colleagues and I brought them down one by one.
So it was a mammoth task. Then they were driven up ahead, one by one, lined up on the side, and covered from all sides. It took almost 1.5 to 2 hours to just bring each body down by lowering them with a rope and packing them properly. It was telling us live non-stop. They've reached here, and the signals, all 11 of them.
At first, those who were exiting the crime scene claimed that this was a murder. Even several policemen who had seen it all inside were claiming the same. The reason being that everyone's hands were tied, everyone's mouths were gagged, tied with telephone cables. So these were the biggest reasons to call it murder. How could 11 people do this to themselves? And why would they do it?
So it seemed that something strange had happened. Because we saw the remains of a sacrificial ritual there. There was something off in that crime scene. As the investigation progressed, more and more stuff came to light. Like revelations from the CCTV footage. That camera was the entire house exterior. So the three of us sat and watched it together, frame by frame, so that we didn't miss a thing. On 28th June 2018, Lalit's wife Tina and her son had brought 4 new purchased suits. Then on 30th June, the night of the incident, at 9:46, the same Tina and another girl are seen approaching the house carrying plastic stools from the market. At 10:29, Dalit son opens a plywood shop, brings a small bundle of coins and takes it upstairs.
Apart from that, the stoles and saris that were used for hanging were purchased from the market. The footage that we watched of that night also showed movement of only the family members.
And when nobody else came till morning, one thing that we became sure of was that no outsider was involved. Now the main question remaining was, did someone amongst them do it?
So as soon as we got there, they all started screaming and shouting with joy. Priyanka asked me if I had brought her special Punjabi shoes. I said yes, I had carried them for her. I had carried stuff for Pratibha and lots of dry fruits as well. There was a festive mood in their house, like in any celebration. We celebrated and danced all through the night. We didn't even realize how time had passed. And all this was arranged by Lalit. He had set up the playlist on his phone, and when our turn came to perform, the right song would play. First, I started dancing, and then one by one, everyone in the group joined me. Because I thought, after all, it was Priyanka's big day. Well, the spot where they were all caught hanging was where we had danced that night. Only that in just 10 days this would happen. We couldn't have imagined it.
Autopsy as such means to see for yourself. That is the examination of the bodies. Now, when I heard the news first that that 11 deaths had happened, I knew that it will be a long day. That can't speak for themselves. So we become like their spokespersons. And we have to find out their truth and bring it out in the open.
I think what we saw in this family was an extreme version of what we see in families all over the world. The family presents itself very, very often as this beautiful, harmonious, intact Indian family. Families have secrets and they can be preserved at all sorts of costs.
We started at 3:30. 7 bodies will take time, and along with that, the media was around, snooping around, hoping to get a lead, hoping to get more visuals.
Maybe faces have actually explained to them. They are doing the need. Let the results come.
Were they injected? Was the food poisoned? Anything is possible in such cases.
Why was the door open? Many bodies were found hanging, but the body of the elderly lady of the family was lying face down in the room.
And she was allegedly strangulated.
Did you kill your mother? Tell me. Why would my family kill my mother? What is the false accusation?
How could a family go from throwing a big bash for their daughter to mass suicide in 14 days?
Just recently I stayed here for 5 or 6 days and left on the 20th. If they had planned the suicide, why would they have spent about 4 lakhs on the engagement?
Now, the actual cause of death can be known only by the post-mortem report.
The police has transferred the case to the crime branch.
The biggest clue we got was through the CCTV footage. No outsider was seen entering the house. It showed the movements of only the family members.
11 members of the family died here on Sunday, but it now appears on the basis of new CCTV footage that this had methodically been planned.
He minutely checked each of the 4 rooms that were there in the house.
We wanted to make sure that we didn't miss anything, leave out any detail. We wanted to collect every piece of evidence. There was something bizarre about that night.
He found the remains of a sacrificial fire. It clearly suggested that they conducted a ritual at night.
Generally, people say Canadian people. We did a thorough search near the altar.
Kanya din. Ha? Kanya din yun. Kayo?
When we read the contents of the diary, everything became quite clear.
We found another one in another room, and then I made my team comb the entire place.
Every room has been checked at least 10 times. 10 times.
In total, we found 11 diaries. The earliest was dated 2007, and the last was just before
No, ha? Ikaw.
11 years.
The biggest problem was that there was no witness, no known offender, and no survivor. And so the diaries proved to be the most vital clue in this case.
You can see the Delhi Police Crime Branch team coming out of the site. There are several documents and diaries that they have collected from the scene of the crime. It will soon be verified as to what the contents of these documents and diaries are.
In front of us, standing on our terrace, we could see that the police were carrying
Ligo mo y... Ay!
some notes and diaries with them.
Ligo si Moy Moy.
What's written in the diary? Please tell us something, sir. Please, sir, please. Any idea what is written in the diary? Sir, I have some idea, but at this point of time, will not be possible to say.
How do we explain something like this to our readers? These notes, what were these diaries? What was written in it? No one knew anything.
Napay nabilin
Are those notes related to this incident? Are those notes responsible for the 11 deaths? There is pressure on us. Everyone wants to be the first to break the news.
Some reporters were being pulled up to find answers quickly.
I was standing outside and looking at the house. Suddenly my gaze fell on a bare wall in front of me, on which was something that looked like dots. It was quite fast, so I took out my phone and zoomed in.
Another reporter and I were discussing about the strange pipes fixed on the wall. We were wondering why would someone place pipes like this in their house? Just then, channel team heard us talking.
What struck me as odd was 7 of these pipes were facing downwards, and 4 of them straight. Among the dead were 7 females and 4 males. And the pattern of the pipes was exactly the same as the pattern of the hanging bodies.
Even as we were discussing this, they broadcast it in their live report.
The pipes, the planning, and the pattern.
The pipes and the pattern of the hanging bodies.
11 pipes were seen protruding.
Were these pipes installed to help the 11 souls escape?
And this figure of 11 became a recurring theme in the case.
As you can see, there are 11 bars on the grid, 11 windows and 11 threads.
It was our idea that there was some story behind this number 11 too.
They didn't have any such reason. They just had some light and ventilation. So they said, fix the pipes as we can't have a window facing others. We close them when we make a wall.
So actually, logically, it didn't seem like ventilation. Nor did it feel like that.
What's the point of pipes for ventilation? And how can bench pipes be used for ventilation?
The number was random. These were old pipes and some had elbow joints, and the lazy mason handed them over without cutting them. There was no others.
The question is, why was everything in the Bhatia house 11 in number?
In my opinion, this whole 11 thing is just a coincidence. There is absolutely no connection between the pipes, the numbers, and 11 people dying. But again, because the story was so intriguing that it was tough to understand, who were these people? How could somebody as old as 40 agree to do something like this? How could an educated girl pursuing masters in commerce, who's working with an MNC, how could they agree into doing something like this? They were doing what the diary said. This much I believe. That they were absolutely abiding by whatever was written inside those diaries.
Once we found the registers, we started reading them, and then it took us a lot of time. I read each and every word myself. I just, locked myself in the office and I read it at one go. The language was instructional, at times scolding. It was conversational. And immediately we went to the last page. And there it was.
Whatever we found at the scene and written in the diaries, the whole procedure.
They had written it about a week ago, and they're talking about a ritual which will run for the next 7 days, which they call the Dagdag Puja. Bud is a banyan tree which has roots hanging from the branches. So the language suggests that we have to behave like the roots hanging from the branches.
Be, kung gising ka daw 8:30, gising mo sa ate mo, ha?
1 in the morning.
For 7 days, perform the Dagdag Puja non-stop. If there's a visitor, then do it the next. Nothing should be visible. Use dim lights. Eyes should be closed. And properly blindfolded. Tag the mouth by tying the handkerchief. Keep the mind absolutely empty. Nothing other than hearing. While standing in attention, imagine that the branches of the tree are entwining it. Dagdag Puja done with determination
Gabi ko,
will
oh.
help in atonement.
I went to great length to get my hands on some pages of those diaries. At around 10 or 11, I called a couple of people and no one had any leads to them. In the meantime, I was still making these calls when the same source called me up again. And finally, I got a copy of those notes. I went through each and every line written at them and tried to make sense And what was written? What was the intent? What was the meaning behind the act? The reason was, since I had got hold of those notes, I could quote it the next day and publish it. It was an exclusive report. It seemed like the notes had been written on a daily basis. Every morning, each family member used to wake up to check the diary to see what their routine was for the day. Who was supposed to do what, which one had defaulted. You all have to perform this ritual tonight. Do this for mother in the morning.
There's a diary entry, December 24, 2017, wherein it's written, Dhruv is getting too distracted by the phone, so watch him. So even these kind of little things they have mentioned in those diaries. The diaries actually tell them how to conduct their life.
Some weird things were written in them, which could have been related to some witchcraft and occult practices that could have led to the deaths. It seemed like there was some third force, an entity apart from these people that was giving them directions in writing. You have to do this, you have to do that.
The family was so immersed in superstition, which led us to the assumption that some sort of tantric would have advised this kind of a ritual.
We were forced to keep investigating, like when the papers mentioned the tantric, our senior said, look for the tantric.
The plumber's daughter got dragged into it for Rita. They interviewed her and declared her the tantric just because she was dressed in red.
Gita Mata was dragged into the story. The contractor who was carrying out the renovation of the house, she was his daughter. The media hyped her so-called claims that the family used to follow her advice and she made them do this.
Delhi Police Crime Branch is questioning Tantric Gita Mata in the Bodhi case.
Gita Ma was arrested from her house in Pura.
I have nothing to do with this case. That's all I have to say. I don't know anything else. And I don't have any more comments. My father has 5 contracts at a time. So do you expect me to meet all those house owners? You know how the media works. They are willing to make a mountain out of a molehill to sell their stories. I was harassed for no reason. They showed my face on the news. And so much rubbish was spoken about. I have told the media very clearly that I played no role in it. My children starved for 3 days. I was unable to cook as I was so tensed. On top of that, I was called here, I was called there. It's not nice to trouble a decent person.
We looked for some person with a religious spiritual background who might have been in contact with the family. Late-night calls, daily messages, something like that. We did not find a single person of that sort. Not even one. So then the second question was, who wrote the register?
In India, a typical joint family is several generations living under one roof, and the head of household, a patriarch, and all authority is derived from him. But once the father dies, there's a vacuum in the family.
The family was heavily influenced by Gopal Singh. He was an authoritative figure.
Gopal Singh had not been a wealthy man. He had come to Narayani Devi's father asking for work. The older man liked his work and felt that he was honest and reliable. So he offered his daughter's hand in marriage and asked him to live with them. And that's why I think they kept the surname Bhatia for all the children, dropping his earlier surname Chandala.
And after his death, things started changing.
When the father was alive, he ran the family, guiding everyone, telling everyone what and how to do things, about the children's education, how to invest or grow their business. He dictated everything. After the father's demise, the family wondered as to who will run or guide the family now.
From 1988 till 2018, ours was a 30-year-old home. They moved to Delhi in the 90s. Before that, they were here. In Delhi, they had started from scratch. Since then, it was only for them that we had been visiting Delhi. From the beginning, the eldest brother was away in Kota. His name was Dinesh. The younger one, Bhunesh, was very reserved. He'd leave for his job in the morning, return at night. Although Lalit was the youngest, everyone would listen to him. Because of his apparent maturity level, everyone looked up to him.
I was confused about how he was so mature despite being so young. He took care of everyone, from his own mother right down to the children.
He had taken the place of their father. The family treated him as if whatever he said was set in stone.
These two had been friends even before our wedding. I really liked him. He was like an elder brother. He would nicely advise me about family matters. He would say, don't mind your husband's temper. That's his nature. He's always been like this. Whenever they sat together, they would crack jokes like this.
They were just like us, the average middle-class family. Even today, she isn't permitted to go out without my father's consent, although he has never said no. He has never refused permission, but the veto power is with my father. That's why it's been 20 years and we haven't fought as yet.
No, not as yet.
Yes, all of them used to obey Lalit without questioning. They were okay with whatever he said.
For instance, during the festival of Diwali, the children would burst firecrackers only if Lalit brought the stuff and accompanied them. He had to be there. None of the kids would even burst crackers in Lalit's absence. He moved here around 97, 98, and for about 7 years, no such thing happened there. Wonder why it happened only after his father's death.
We don't know about their relationship when he was alive. But after his death, his son's bond with his late father probably kept growing.
First entry, according to my notes, is September 2007, right after Gopal Singh's death.
Most of the things mentioned in the diary were related to Lalit. All of you are making Lalit very anxious. Lalit is being oppressed. If you don't obey Lalit, the outcome will be disastrous. If you want solutions to your problems, then you must follow Lalit's instructions.
As the police found more diaries, more details came to light. We discovered that since 2007, Lalit was being visited by his dead father in his dreams, wherein he would converse with the father, he would obey the father, and slowly he started sharing these conversations with the family.
Neetu had told her neighbors that her uncle was possessed by their grandfather's spirit and that he guides them. And whenever such a thing happened, Lalit's voice would change.
The voice that he spoke in was a father's voice. That must have been a moment which I think did something to everyone.
He became a medium for the spirit of his father, and he would speak and behave like his father.
Even though Narayani Devi was his mother, he addressed her as Narayani, just like Gopal uncle. He used to address
Lalit was being possessed by his father's spirit. And whatever Lalit wrote was assumed to be the father's
pinatay niya talaga.
for the whole family.
In-influence na
After writing, all of you should go to sleep. Do not discuss it.
demonyo nga yung ano
Do
niya.
not take my visits lightly. God's will should never be made fun of. Don't worry about Lalit's health. My visits had their effect. Only sleep good.
Here's the line from the notes. On Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'll return.
Follow the will of the diaries.
Kasi normal ko yung mag-isip, kaya naman pumayag ng victim.
Akainungan eh. Na influence nung
Ha? Hindi na makakatulog ba? Oo, yun. Pag mga ganun ba yung spirit? Ha? Hindi na naiintindihan? Kaya nga, bago ka manang yung mga ano. Yung spirito. Yung ba na dito? Yung ba na dito?
Pumunta po.
Ako na lahat ang Islam? Squid. Ganun kayo ba? Oo, ikaw, maganda. Hindi, akala ko talaga may crime scene kasi yung House of Secret eh. Talagang ano pala, the spirit ka rin.
kaya pagsabi ko nga. Ay. Kaya pagkitakpan mo yung katang stove, ay katang tangki. Kaya pagkitakpan mo yung kahit yung nasi.
May nadalang pa ba? Babe? Ay, pang kain ba? Pang munggo. Ano itang ano? Hiniling babi na.
Ato pa ka. Magmunggo ka o nan, balak magutan ka.
Gusto mo daw bukas munggo?
Nanong kahit ako sa titapang nga prito.
What? Oh. Doon ka lang mo sumakang bukas. Nag-depende siya. Next time na nga mag-depende. Nasa bahay dati. Doon ka bukas kasama. Kasi tayo na nagayaan sa mga Richard Gomez, may kaya niya naman eh. May vlog-vlog niya naman po.
Lambat na no. Na may pandemic. Ha? May bigyan ka na talaga magluto. Wade. Wade kadun mo si shout out. Shout out, shout out. Shout out.
Okay, ikaw mula sa rin. Shout out.
Ang galing. Ang galing mo naman mag-vlog. Sana all. Himala. Ginagawa sa wow. Tapos. Kita man doon. Kita man doon. Naman tayo makatulog ito. Yan na. Yan na. Shout out kaya Bokla Gaming. Baliktad yung naging bibi. Si Inday yung naging bibi doon. Sa kabila. Si Inday yung nasa crib. Baliktad. Sila naman ito. Ha? Hanggang ka na. Asan pati na? Oh, Squid Game. Mira, mo sabihin pati yan, ma. Oh. Yun naman yun eh. So many of them. Baka kaya pala ka. Ayaw namin. Ayaw namin. Takot kami. $50 per isa. Hindi po. Susunod. Nandiyan ako, Asan? Asan ako? Low battery. Hindi, ganito naman yun. Ganito nga ginagawa ng mga streamer eh. Wait. Wait. Wait lang. Charge ko lang to. Nawala Nawala yata. Good. Parang di kita. Ano to? Kita ka ba na? Natutumba eh. Kasi yung papel dito na wala. Wala yung papel dito nga. Okay. Wait lang guys. 20 pages. Okay na, kita na ma. Kita na. Kasi nakikita mo kami. So, DMD. Taas naman lang siya dun, ano nakikita? Ay, nakikita. Hindi hanggang dito eh. Bakit dito? Ang liig. Okay. Pasok ka na lang dito. Pasok ka na lang dyan. Oh. Yan po yung ano. Yan po yung ano. Akin tama. Ito. Akin to. Tignan ko, pindutin ko. Oh, grabe naman yan. Report. Bench. Report. Sira na. Lindol. Okay na yan. Ayaw na. Nanakot ako eh. Palaman yan. Hindi ka pa rin tapos mo. Bakit tatapos mo? Bakit? Wala tayo mahilig di ba ba? Ha? May umilig di ba wala nito? Malakas. Ang dalawa na lang, ang dalawa.